Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Now, we sometimes bring you news of defections on this programme. We rarely hear of politicians defecting back again. And it's even rarer to hear of them doing so within 24 hours. But that's what's happened in Swindon, where the defection of a councillor called Matthew Courtliff from Labour to the Conservatives was greeted with some pleasure by local Tories, as you might expect. But just hours after the announcement, Mr Courtliff said he'd changed his mind and would be staying with Labour after all. He described it as the worst 24 hours of my life. Well, the journalist who's been covering the story, Chris Humphreys, is in our Bristol studio. Chris, tell us what happened.
It was a very bizarre 24 hours. We got news on Tuesday night that Councillor Courtliff was in with the council leader in a meeting and was looking to change side. There'd been rumours for a few days. Within an hour, there were very strong statements put out. He said he was looking forward to Theresa May's leadership as a Conservative, that Jeremy Corbyn had lost touch with people. He was warmly welcomed by the leader of the council, by our local Conservative MP. And the Labour leader and Labour councillors were scathing, called it the worst thing about politics.
Right.
Less than 24 hours later, he was saying that he'd made a terrible mistake and that he regretted it and that he wanted people to forgive him and come back again.
Now, you wonder what happened in those 24 hours when he said it was a terrible mistake. I mean, are the Swindon Conservatives really that bad?
I think he's quite a young councillor. He's 25, the youngest on the council. And I think it was a bit of a shock, the attention that he got.
Oh, I see. You think he actually didn't realise he was going to come under the spotlight in quite the way he did. But what about his Labour colleagues? Because, of course, they put out a statement, as you said, saying it was a dishonourable position and represents the worst about politics. So what did they say when he came back again?
I think there's a mixture. There are certain more moderate Labour councillors who want to see it as a mistake, put it behind them. But there are some further to Jeremy Corbyn's side of the party who won't take too kindly to his messages of support for Theresa May and of criticising the leadership. Right.
And you've spoken to him, I presume. How's he feeling?
I think a little raw is probably the way I'd describe it. It's probably his first encounter with the ruthlessness of frontline politics, even at a local level. I think it might take him a few weeks to be ready to come out and stand up to residents and explain himself.
Yes. Are you upset, Nick Clegg, he didn't defect to the Liberal Democrats as well?
Yes, because he's obviously in quite a traumatised state. He's only 25, so if he wants to, spend some time with some nice people, we'll give him a nice cup of tea and just say, they're there, it's all OK. He can always join the Liberal Democrats and make it as clean sweep. Yes, clean hat trick.
He could. I presume he hasn't considered joining the Liberal Democrats.
Well, we don't know. He's certainly considered the Conservative Party, and they say they've left their door open, but I'm sure the Liberal Democrats would welcome another member in Swindon if he
I'm
wanted
sure they would. I don't know how many they've got doing on that. Do you think voters will be understanding? Because no doubt the local press are all over this.
Certain people who were out campaigning with him when he was standing as a Labour candidate have been very critical and said, can I have my vote back? Others have said, if we can't trust you on this and your positions aren't that set in stone, how can we trust you on other issues? So I think he'll have a lot of work to do to get their trust back.
Right. When's he up for re-election?
Well, he'll be up for re-election in the general election year. So not only has he got to prove his worth to residents, but he's also going to fight against the Labour performance nationally as well.
All right. Thank you very much.